Hi everyone, I'm Adrian. I live in New York City and this is my first YouTube video. I'm actually doing this maybe as a dare or in response to my sister who tagged me in her first YouTube video on the palette, I guess the palette tag. And I know a lot of YouTubers have already done this. Some of my favorites like Mel Thompson and Samantha March and Allie Glines. So I believe Samantha March and Allie Glines started it. I think it's a great way to kind of introduce myself to the world who may not already know me. You know, my world's tiny. This world might be a little bit bigger. So I guess I'll just go through everything. I feel like you'll get a good sense of it. The one thing I should mention is I love palettes, love them. But I'd say about a year and a half ago, my sister and I committed to kind of a low buy, no buy for a period, but low buy year. It's bled into a year and a half, and during this process I decluttered quite a few palettes. I decluttered about 75 palettes, which is insane. And any palettes that now kind of enter my life, I really try to be very mindful as to will I use it? Are they duplicates? You know, what kind of formulas do I really gravitate towards? Colors. I have an incessant habit of trying to amass an entire collection, and it just wasn't really bringing me a lot of fulfillment. And so hoping that by really culling down my collection, making sure everything is still within its expiration date, and having a nice variety, I'll be able to appreciate it more. And so you'll notice that a lot of my palettes are on the newer side. I'd say probably the oldest palette I have is maybe a little over 2 years old, but just something to keep in mind. And yeah, I hope that you find this enjoyable. And without further ado, I'll get started. So let's see the first question. My newest palette. My newest palette is actually the one I'm wearing on my eyeballs right now. This will be, I'm trying to locate it. This will be a surprise to my sister, because I didn't tell her I bought it. It's the She Got Solstice from ColourPop. And I think, you know, it's just such a beautiful palette. It automatically like called to me when I saw it. And I know ColourPop has been shut down. I think they're just sort of coming out of their shutdown phase, and I don't know, I was like really missing a new collection from them, which is so silly because they have collections all the time. But I don't know, I saw that Ulta had this. Obviously they must have had it in their arsenal for release before quarantine and this entire crisis came to fruition. And so I don't know, it just really called to me, and I just think it's beautiful, and I would be doing you a massive disservice if I did not swatch for you the most incredible color, which is this ColourPop. You know, it feels like their color shock shadow formula, but it is just the most foiled, incredible color. I don't know if you could see that. As I'm not a crazy YouTuber that has like lighting and stuff, this is my lighting for now. I guess if you guys want to see more, I will potentially invest in some lighting. But it's just a really beautiful palette. It's on the warm side, but kind of corally, terracotta, but the shimmer, the gold shimmer, but also just the other three shimmers. This one's a little greeny, cooler toned, just so pretty. So I really like it. I feel like it's a very flattering palette on my eyes. I have like brown eyes, but they, depending how upset I am, they can lighten up quite a lot. So yeah, that's the first palette, and I love ColourPop. Their shadows are incredible. The next one will be my oldest palette. So my oldest palette, dun dun dun, is the Subculture Palette from Anastasia, Beverly Hills. This palette got a lot of flack. I don't know. I think it was a lot of just, it sort of maybe a few people observed something and then they just like went to town. And that's regarding kind of the fallout. And this is the palette, and it is probably one of my most favorite color stories ever. I'm like looking at it it's just so beautiful. It's just so beautiful. You have this foresty green and this more teal green, the mustard, the peach, the coral. It's just really pretty. If you know, it is very pigmented. A little goes a long way. I think that though, if you are willing to be a tiny bit patient, you will be so happy with this palette. It's just something special. It gives me like very retro vibes, like 1970s. You know, it's really beautiful. I have to actually use it more, and that's part of my process of kind of culling down my collection, is getting back to the things that I really love. My most expensive palette. Tide. I have two of the Charlotte Tilbury quads, one in Pillow Talk and one in Rebel, which it's the old Rebel. I know that this was re-released and that the colors are a bit different. They're a bit more kind of army green. I think this palette's like $52 or something, each of these. They're really pretty. The formula is really pretty. They're perfect for travel. I can't fault them, other than their price tag is ridiculous. It's just, it's really astronomical for what it is you're getting, but it's, you know, a little piece of sophistication. And I do like what Charlotte Tilbury does. It still makes me incredibly uncomfortable to spend this much money. In fact, I have gone and purchased Pat McGrath and not a large Natasha Denona palette yet, but it just makes me really uncomfortable after I've sort of experienced some really good quality shadows that make sense for that's my husband going to the bathroom. This is what it's like living in New York City. You don't get a lot of room to play or privacy or anything like that. So it's still, they're really lovely. If I could be a little critical though, that I would imagine the outside, this plastic, to be a little nicer than what it is for the price tag. I don't know. I know I'm being a little picky, but when I'll show you some of the other packaging I have, it's just, I feel we could do better than this. But the next palette, most affordable palette. Okay, those are easy. I have 3 of them too. It's the Little Elf bite-sized palettes. I have truffles, hot jalapeno, and rosewater. These are great. I'm really surprised at how much I love this one. I think I got this free in an elf order. Amazing. This one's so vivid. I have a thing for greens, and so, you know, really love that one. And truffles is just a really pretty everyday one. This sparkle is really nice, sticks to the lid really well. Sort of reminds me of a palette that I always wanted and I never got my hands on, which was one of the Huda Beauty Obsessions palette, the Smoky. I don't know why she's not putting out those palettes again or revamping them, because I think they did very well for her and her brand, and I love the size. As I'm acquiring palettes now, I really do focus on size. So I tend to not go for large palettes. Show your everyday palette. I guess for everyday, I tend to gravitate towards, I really, you know, I just do, I've been trying to do a good job in just changing things up. But I guess for every day, if I'm being honest with myself, I have been playing around a lot with the Lorac Pro, the original. It took me a very long time to acquire this palette. Holy cow. I don't even know how I would describe the formula. They're very, very soft, but they're not soft the way an Anastasia formula is, but they're very, very soft. They're just really beautiful shades, and the metallics are not, they're not blinding. This is a great day palette, even if you want to sneak in this gold or this bronze or this purple or this kind of slate color. It's just really pretty. It's super slim, which I appreciate. It's has that nice soft touch packaging. I think this is absolutely amazing still. Even when you look at some of the other formulas that have come out, I still think this is good. This is good stuff. I mean, it takes everything in me not to buy the entire collection of these, and also, you know, all the huge ones, just because I just know I shouldn't do that. I should just really appreciate this. So that's what I'm doing. But I really love the quality of the shadows are really, really pretty. Show my most colorful palette. Before I show this one, I just want to make sure it's true. Yeah. Okay. So this is another ColourPop palette. This is the So Jaded palette. This is Kathleen Lights in association with ColourPop, and I just think, I mean, it takes your breath away. It's so nice. It has gorgeous finishes. You know, probably the one criticism will be you might get a little overwhelmed, but I think that's the case with a lot of large palettes. You might just get overwhelmed with how much it's kind of how much is coming at you with the colors. But if you do focus on them in terms of, I've heard this, and I've heard this in general with a lot of palettes, but I think it's true. If you sort of like just concentrate on a quad or maybe a 6-pan and kind of black out the rest, you really start to maybe see the potential of the palette and some of the things. Of course, like Kathleen Lights, whose channel is amazing and really turned me on to, between her and Pixie Woo, turned me on to watching beauty YouTube and being like, oh my God, this is amazing. Where have you been all my life? She does a beautiful job, obviously, in creating looks and beautiful color combinations. And there's so many people out there, and also just the packaging. It's really happy, again, really slim for the amount that you get. Yeah, and a lot of vibrant shades. So highly recommend it. It makes me so happy looking at it. So this is how I know I've done a good job calling my collection, and because as I'm like reaching for everything, number one, I can reach for everything. It all fits in one drawer. And number two, like, I don't know. I just get happy looking at it, which wasn't the case when I had, like, you know, 75 more palettes. I didn't feel happier. I felt really overwhelmed and confused, and I ended up really not using as many. And I've been, even before quarantine, I was really making an effort to do eye looks for work. Even though I work in a very corporate environment, I still kind of like push the boundary a little with the eye makeup. Show your smallest palette. 4. Okay. So technically, I think those elf ones are pretty small. They're 4 shadows. But I think by weight, and I might be wrong, so I'm gonna check this. 0.12 ounces. This might be slightly large, but these pans are small. This is a little luxury palette. It is the Roen palette, 52 degrees. It's so pretty. But these pans are small. I mean, like, just so you can see the difference. They're really small. They're creams. I consider this to be more of a companion palette with, if you're looking for something really dazzling to put over a matte eyeshadow, or if you want kind of that wet look. I mean, they're beautiful. They are beautiful. Totally worth the money. I think this is like $40 some, very close to Charlotte Tilbury, but I thought about this for a long time before I gave it. So show your biggest palette. Now, my biggest palette, probably in terms of the amount of shadows, it is the ColourPop So Jaded, but by weight of the amount of shadows, it is the Tati Beauty Textured Neutrals palette. This thing, I don't care how you feel about Tati. I have been on a roller coaster of feelings about her as a beauty guru, with her expansion into, 2 different businesses. I think it's just very hard to make everybody happy. It's damn near impossible, and I think she's just done her best. And I there's something about her. I'm very sincerely, kind of connected to her in some way, like when she talks. And I think maybe I think I have just a general attraction to people who have sisters, because my sister is so important to me, and it seems like her sisters are so important to her, and I just have a deep affection for that kind of like feminine connection and value. And so I do like her. I do, and where I can feel comfortable supporting her. I couldn't with the vitamins, just because, well, I'm terrible with vitamins, and I'm also like allergic to random stuff, but or like sensitive to random things. When I saw this, I loved it. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. The sparkles are so sparkly, and they are so kind of wet, and they stick right on the lid. I took this on a cruise with my family, and I had so much fun trying so many colors. It travels well. There's just a lot here. And in fact, I'm upgrading this palette because I feel like it's large palettes for me. They get buried behind things. So I'm actually putting it in my everyday drawer along with the So Jaded palette, because I want to be able to play with the things that are, really beautiful. So that's that one. That was my biggest. Show your palette with the best memory. Palette with the best memory. Okay. I'm a little, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, what am I doing? Okay, best memory. I think it'll be the Marc Jacobs, one of the Marc Jacobs palettes. It's the editorial palette. It's this one with this amazing gold. In fact, let's look at this gold in comparison to this. It's not good. It's much more yellow, but I mean, oh, It's so pretty. Yeah, it's much more yellow, but and it doesn't have glitter the way that the ColourPop one. But I just remember using this palette. This might be my oldest palette. No, I think this was a little newer than my Subculture palette. But this palette is just, it's really sophisticated. I just love the color story, this dark green, this metallic, you know, kind of black with a bronze in it. It's just really, really pretty. I went down the path of owning a lot of these. I decluttered a lot of them. This is one of the ones I kept. I just remember using this one time going down to Christmas and New Year's for you know, just to celebrate the holidays down to Miami, where I'm originally from, to see my family. And I just remember putting this on and just loving every look I did, and it just reminds me of that time. Which when will it ever happen again? People, things in New York City have been very, very tough here. Very tough. I really admire and everyone who has had to work outside of their home during this. Yeah, it's wild to me. Take a breath. Next palette is show a palette worth the hype. Show a palette worth the hype. A palette worth the hype will definitely be the Jackie Aina palette. This is so good. Like, these colors, this could have almost been my most colorful, except the ColourPop one is just over. It is so good. I've done a few looks from this. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful. I do have to obviously dip into maybe a lighter palette just for some optional transition colors, because it's made for deeper skin tones, which is absolutely the way it should be. I think Jackie Aina cracks me up. Like, I really like watching her. I actually watched her after acquiring this palette. I didn't really watch her before, and this palette just, I mean, I was stunned. These colors are so beautiful. Like, let me see if I could show you one that's not gold. This, like, sponsored color, it's just so, it's this kind of like greeny, I'm like such a fan of greeny colors, but with a flip. And I know this color has been done by quite a few, this kind of like deep green with a pink flip, but this one is like the creamiest. ColourPop's done it a few times, but this one is really the creamiest. It's beautiful. The packaging is beautiful. It's substantial. I find all of Anastasia's packaging, when it's in this type of package, is very substantial, so very easy to travel with. So yeah, I really do like that one. Show a palette not worth the hype. This is gonna break my heart because I waited forever to purchase this, and finally I said, you know what? It was probably on a really bad day during these last few months. I said, I'm gonna buy this. And it is the M Cosmetics little Divine, ooh, lighting. Divine Skies eyeshadow palette. And I mean, this packaging is, Charlotte Tilbury needs to take a, you see, this is what I expect from the Charlotte Tilbury package. But anyway, it is beautiful. It's very pretty. I don't know if I mean, I'm gonna do this because I mean, this is my problem, is that I'm obviously attracted to very similar. These colors are so similar. I can shoot myself in the foot. This one I got on Ulta with a coupon for $11. This one was $30 some. no coupon. I just can't justify this. Like, it's really hard. And the formula is not out of this. It's fine. The formula is fine. It is not out of this world. It is absolutely not out of this world. In fact, this is also very similar if you have the Pillow Talk from Charlotte Tilbury, which I'm just opening, has a lot of, I mean, this is a little, but there's some on the eyes, there's a lot of similarity. About 3 of the shades here are kind of in here. Between the Charlotte Tilbury and the She's Got Solstice from Color, I mean, just pick this one up. Do not, if you want to support Michelle Phan, I'm all for it. I have supported her brand. And there are products of hers I really, really love. But this one is just not, it's not as special as it should be. And the formula, I was expecting a lot more. I was expecting at least Color Pop Good. I shouldn't have said that, but I did say that. Show your favorite palette from a favorite brand. This is so good. No. Wait. Did I say already a palette not worth the hype? And did I say a palette worth the hype already? I'm not gonna edit this stuff, so you're getting the raw deal, people. Show a palette worth the hype. Okay. I think a palette that has been worth the hype, and this was something that was well reviewed, and I think it's absolutely worth everything, is a Natasha Denona, this mini palette, mini retro. It's so good. It's so beautiful. It's like a perfect size. Why can't we have like a little million Natasha Denonas? This is just so much better, easy to travel with. The color story is there. You can get like maybe a good 2 looks out of it, maybe 3. You can do single eyeshadow looks too. But it's just so pretty. And I mean, let me see if, again, they almost feel a little oily, which I love. But I mean, it's so nice. It's so nice. I know, people. My lighting sucks. Okay. So that's that. So I think that one was worth the hype. And actually, just like the little mini Natasha Denona palettes are absolutely worth the hype. Like, okay, wait for them to go on sale. If they're ever, the 50% off on Sephora, or they are the, you have the 20% off, get them. You'll be happy. They're better than what you have, probably. I don't know who's watching this. So the next palette, which is show your palette from a favorite brand. Now, this is the only palette I have from this brand. This brand has only come out with, I think, 2 palettes. I'm dying for the other one because this one impressed me to no end. In fact, if I were to keep just 1, 2, 3 palettes and like I had to run out of my house, everything's burning down, this is coming with me. I can't explain to you how beautiful this formula is. And this is the Sydney Grace Enduring Love palette. I got the lighter of the 2. There's one for deeper skin tones. Sydney Grace's shadows are these pans are huge. I think this was also $52, but I got it with so many discounts that I think I paid $40 for it. But the color story is beautiful. It has lots of everyday shades. It has some bling. This bling, oh my god. It's just so, I mean, there. right next to Natasha Denona, right next to Anastasia, right next to Marc Jacobs and ColourPop. It is the most consistent across the board, and it's kind of like foily look. It is so good. I want everybody to shop Sydney Grace, and I want no one to shop Sydney Grace. I don't want there ever to be any compromise that's happening in how she's creating her formulas, because it's good. It's really, really, really good. Really good stuff. And I think even they're beginner friendly. So if you don't have anything, if you just want one palette to dip into, play around with, maybe some color, nighttime, but really you want some day look, just get this. Skip all the rest. Skip all the rest. And just get this one. And call yourself a minimalist and be done with it. It's just really good. Prior to that, I had picked up a couple of her singles, which were equally as buttery and everything, but having everything in a palette is just really, really nice. So yes, and I think the other palette of hers is called Autumn something, Autumn Rain, maybe, I don't know. I want it. It will be mine eventually. And then then I'll say the show my most used palette. My most used palette. It will not look very used to everybody, but probably it is the Anastasia Soft Glam. I mean, it looks a little up. I'm pretty clean about it when I put on makeup, and then even the afterwards I try to clean my palette. So, and this one's really pretty. It has all these beautiful metallics, and you can create kind of like a terracotta color, creamsicle color. You can create a mauve color kind of look, something even brickier, browny, goldy, black. You can go very, very vamp with this. It's really pretty. I own a lot of Anastasia palettes, and I think it's definitely one of my favorite formulas. I'm never really disappointed. I think the only ones I'll just show and tell, besides the Subculture and the Soft Glam, and the Jackie Aina, I also have the Carly Bible, Riviera, and Norvina. I decluttered a couple just to support kind of make sure I use things, but those were hard to declutter because I really, really love those. Any honorable mentions? I think I answered all the questions in the tag. But any honorable mentions? Yes, I will make one honorable mention because I think that this brand is sort of suffering a bit of an identity crisis. And in spite of that, I was very attracted to this packaging from Tarte. And I loved this color story in here. And this is a combo eye and face palette. These shades are very, very special. It has that wonderful vanilla smell. This is my only Tarte palette now. I've decluttered the rest. I really love this. I think this is just beautiful, fun, sophisticated too, has this very mod feel to it. And yeah, I hope that they kind of get away from the too cutesy kind of K-beauty look and venture back into maybe modern, sophisticate, and you know, I feel like they'll find better success. But I really, really like that palette. It's the Busy Gal palette, and I got it as a gift to myself on one of my first really bad days during quarantine here in New York, and I just felt like, it would be nice to just whip out one palette a day to like put my makeup on and maybe try a couple of different looks and be able to kind of tackle my day and work my full-time job. So anyway, that's that, and I hope that you found this interesting, and this is probably really freaking long, and watch it, don't watch it, but I know one person that will be watching it, my sister. So thanks everyone for watching, and I will see you later. Bye.